Hey, what is going on? This is Mohammed, your personal PMP instructor from Certify with Ease, with another brand new video, the 5 most common PMP questions, part 2. We are going to dive into some common PMP questions that you can expect on the exam, and that's the best way to prepare for the exam. Solve questions that you can actually expect, okay? Before we begin, I have a PMP course called the PMP Accelerator Program. If you're interested, check it out in the description below. It is meant to give you an exam-focused approach to get certified in 30 days. If you're interested and you don't want to read a textbook, you don't want to watch 35 hours worth of Udemy courses, and you do not want to attend those expensive, super long 10-hour-a-day PMP boot camps, make sure to book an appointment so we can get you certified, okay? So let's start on these questions over here. I'll also include the document below in the description so you guys could check it out and solve them on your own, okay? So let's solve this together. Remember, we are going to follow the 3 magic steps. Number 1, you want to frame the problem after reading the question. Number 2, you want to eliminate the answers that contradict our principles, which are right over here. This is, by the way, my full entire course. Again, if you're interested, please book an appointment. This is going to get you certified as soon as possible so you can get those higher opportunities, higher salary, and move on with your life, okay? Number 3, we want to choose the answer that best solves the problem. So we're going to work on these 3 steps with these 5 questions. And let's start over here. All right. A PM is leading a fintech project for a large bank. The risk tolerance is 20%. At the end of the project phase, the risk manager complains that the PM exceeded the risk tolerance of the project, which was 15%. This was surprising news to the manager because the change in the risk tolerance was new to him. All right. So the problem statement is what? The problem statement is simply that the PM was not updated on the risk tolerance change. That is the problem statement. The 20% is not important. The 15% is not important. The problem is the PM was not updated on this risk tolerance change. Understand that. Very important. The numbers are there to throw you off. All right. Let's start eliminating some answers. A, review the risk management plan. Okay, so this doesn't contradict any of our principles. So let's just continue. B, submit a change request to increase the risk tolerance to its original 20%. Okay. It doesn't technically contradict any principles. Review the communications management plan. Again, no principles being contradicted here. Continue the project with a risk tolerance of 15%. Now, no principles have been contradicted. And the principles over here, we have all our principles over here. We're going to look at them soon, but none of them have been broken. So what do we do now? We move on to the next step, which is to choose the answer that best solves the problem statement. The problem is the PM was not updated. The problem is not the risk tolerance. The problem is the PM was made. It was surprising news to the PM, meaning that somewhere along the line, somewhere along this process, that information about the risk tolerance change did not reach the PM. This is clearly a communications management problem. So the best answer is going to be C. C, it solves the problem completely. Okay? You might come across this, a problem where none of the principles are contradicted. Remember, the main thing you want to focus on is, does this solution completely solve the problem statement? You have to read the question in such a way where you're able to extract the problem statement. Let's move on. Okay, so here you guys have the answer as well. Number 2. So this is a pretty simple type of question, and honestly, this is not a situation-based question. You might get about maybe 3 questions or 2 questions that relate to this. Very easy, but we're going to touch upon it regardless. A PM is leading the project execution phase, consisting of many uncertainties. The team is worried that due to the uncertainties, the project objectives will not be adequately met. What approach should the PM take? Project approach, okay? So, in this question, they mentioned that there's a lot of uncertainty right over here. And because of that, you do not know what to expect. You have this goal, but to get to that goal, there's a lot of uncertainty. You do not know what to expect. So you want to use what kind of approach? Predictive is something where you kind of know what to expect. The project has been done so many times that the path is pretty much clear. Agile, on the other hand, is where you take a couple of steps forward. You assess the situation. You decide if you want to keep moving forward or if you need to pivot and make a change. Agile is going to be the best description. Now, a lot of my students choose hybrid. Hybrid is not the right approach in this situation. Hybrid is a combination of predictive and agile. In this question, they clearly just mention uncertainties. If this question mentioned that some of the project is uncertain and the other projects we have, the other part we've done many, many times, that is going to be a hybrid approach. But in this case, there's no indication of that, so we are going to take an agile approach. Kaizen project approach is not even a project approach, and you'll see this on your exam. Sometimes they might bring up a term that has nothing to do with project management, or it's not in the right place. Okay, so you want to watch out for that. Okay, so that was a pretty simple question, but easy points. Remember, we're trying to pass the exam. We're not trying to be all fancy. We're trying to pass the exam. So again, easy points. Don't miss out on those questions. All right, let's do letter C. Question number 3. So the problem statement here: a supplier for an aircraft simulator project has run into shipping delays due to the COVID-19 outbreak. You guys still remember COVID? Man, that was a mess. But anyways, the project will be delayed by 2 weeks. I mentioned aircraft simulator project because I remember really quickly, really tangent, a quick story. A company that I worked for completely shut down permanently because of COVID-19. But anyways, the project will be delayed by 2 weeks. What should the project manager do? Okay, the problem statement is very simple here. I don't care that we're dealing with an aircraft simulator company. I don't care that it's COVID. The project will be delayed. That is our problem statement. Remember, as a project manager, I remember one of my students actually brought this interesting comment up. She said that project managers are delay managers. That's 100% correct. Delays in a project are very, very detrimental. You want to do everything that you can to avoid delays. What should the PM do? A, assess the project outcomes with the project team and review the risk mitigation plan. Okay. Ask the supplier to compensate for the risk by offering a reduced price for the shipment. Okay, now I'm going to eliminate B. Because yes, we might get a reduced price, but it doesn't solve the problem of the delay. So, does not solve problem. Again, getting a discount might help us out, but it doesn't solve the issue. What are we going to do to bring the schedule back on track? All right. Let's make this a little bit more pretty for you guys. There we go. Okay, C. Using crashing to get, so what should the project manager do? Use crashing to get the schedule back on track. Okay, interesting. Let's move on. D. Review and update the issue log and discuss the next steps with the relevant stakeholders. Okay, very good. So I'm going to pick this answer. I'm not going to pick A. Assess the project outcomes with the project team and review the risk mitigation plan. Why are we going to eliminate A? Pause this video and try to figure it out. This is very, very important. They mentioned that the project will be delayed. It's a declaration. It's not the project might be delayed. The project will be delayed. The risk mitigation plan comes in handy when there is a chance to mitigate the risk, which is the delay. But in this case, they have declared in the question that the project will be delayed. Now, it's very important. If they mention the project might be delayed, I would pick A with no doubt. Remember that distinction. Okay? So this is a technical problem. No principles are being contradicted, but it is wrong to choose A. So C, use crashing. So sorry for my little mistake here. Use crashing to get the schedule back on track. Okay. Yes, technically it's a scheduling compression technique, and if you need to finish earlier, or if you need to get your schedule back on track, you can use crashing. Let's see what else there is. Review and update the issue log and discuss the next steps with the relevant stakeholders. Okay, very good. The issue or the risk has now become the issue because they mentioned that the project will be delayed. It's a declaration. Let me put this into another example so you guys understand. Remember, you have to understand this concept for your exam. Let's say you're building a bridge during hurricane season. The hurricane is now the risk. There's no hurricane, but there's a possibility that the hurricane might come. Now, let's say the hurricane's at your doorstep the next day while you're building the bridge. The hurricane now is not a risk, it is an issue. In this case, they mentioned the project will be delayed, so it's not a risk anymore. It's happening live. So now we have an issue. Review and update the issue log. So this is principle number 1. If you check this over here, principle number 1, take a step back, review the issues log, or analyze, investigate before deciding on a solution. So this is very powerful. I like the wording of this. Review and update the issue log and discuss the next steps with the relevant stakeholders. So you're using the right tool and you're discussing it with the relevant stakeholders. So this is going to be the answer. But what I want you guys to get out from this question is the difference between a risk and an issue. You have to know that for your exam. If you don't, you're going to mess up in answering the question. Okay? So the best answer is going to be D in this case. All right, let's move on. Okay, ground rules. A PM notices that his team members are constantly checking their phones and speaking during meetings. What should the PM do? Very simple question, easy points. So problem statement is team not paying attention. Remember, you want to phrase the problem statement in a way that you understand. In a way that's complete, in a way that you understand, and you're able to process the question. What should the PM do? Enforce the rules so that anyone who breaks them will be kicked out of the meeting. Okay, so this is something that's counter servant leadership, so contradicts principle 3 that I'm going to show you guys right now. So principle 3 over here, be a servant leader. So enforcing things and kicking people out, this is something that you don't want to do. Okay. Escalate the issue to human resources. So nope. Principle 8 is being contradicted here. And we know that we don't escalate things. A PM solves what the PM needs to solve. No escalating. Now, obviously, in real life, you might escalate, but we're talking about in terms of the PMP. C, actively listen to the team members' needs and encourage participation. Or encourage participants. Or participation, sorry. So, does this solve the root problem? It doesn't solve the root problem. Your team members are on their phones, are talking during meetings. Actively listening to them, fine. Understanding their needs, fine. Encouraging them to do what? This does not solve the problem. I'm going to eliminate. Eliminate doesn't solve problem. Okay. D, remind everyone of the ground rules. So this is 3, choose D. Okay, step 3 solves the problem completely. Remember, on your exam, you are going to receive a question like this. When there are small issues, like people are checking their phones or not paying attention, you want to remind them of the ground rules. Remember, this is not a performance issue. If a team member is performing poorly, you do not want to just remind them of, oh, you need to perform better, John or Mary or James. You need to perform a little better. No, you want to have a formal conversation and discuss this issue with them. Performance is not acceptable. Performance issues are not acceptable. Small ground rules that are broken, you want to just remind your team, okay? So that is a question that you can expect. Again, easy points. Get the right answer quickly, okay? All right, you have the answer there. All righty, okay, scheduling compression technique. This is a hot topic for the exam, so let's dive into it right now. All right, a client of an upcoming AI project asked the project manager for the first deliverable. I'm sorry, there's so many spelling mistakes here. I gotta fix this file up for you guys. You're gonna receive the new file in the description below, so please check it out. My apologies for that. So to be released in the next 3 weeks earlier than what was initially stipulated. The project manager knows the project team is already working overtime. Okay. Now let's do this. Problem statement here. We need to release project or deliverable earlier. And the team, this is important information, is working overtime, meaning that they're already past their capacity. Okay, this is going to be really relevant information. A, fast track so that the deliverable can be released earlier. Is this possible? We're saying that, the team is already working overtime. Fast tracking is, why don't we use our little handy cheat sheet in our course over here. Let me try to find it. Okay, fast tracking. There we go. Scheduling compression technique that shortens the time to completion by team members multitasking and doing more than originally required. Okay, so this is good if the project must be completed earlier and there's not enough budget to hire more resources. However, right now in our case, the team cannot handle more. We know that the team is they're at their capacity because they're working overtime. So I'm not going to choose this right away, okay? I'm going to eliminate it because it counters what's in the problem. Let's move on. Use crashing so that the deliverable can be released earlier. Crashing is a technique that we can use. Now the question doesn't mention anything about having budget problems. So crashing is a possible solution. I'm not going to eliminate it right away. Let's just see what else there is. All right, so if you guys forgot what crashing is, let's go back to our cheat sheet terms. Crashing over here, adding more resources to speed up the completion. Okay. However, if the question mentioned that there's no extra budget, then you don't want to use crashing. Okay. Reject the client's request because releasing the deliverable earlier will compromise its quality. So do we ever want to reject a client's request? We do not want to. This is principle, I believe, 23. Okay, so if you go back to our principle list over here, never give, oh, sorry, no, that's not 23. It's going to be principle number 18. Never immediately reject a request or opportunity. Okay, so that is what is being done over here. So 18. All right. And now we're left with D. Ask your team to work overtime to meet the early deadline. So we know that's not possible because they're already working overtime. So eliminate. The best answer here is going to be B. Choose B. Best answer. Okay. Now, if the answers had something along the lines of the PM should assess or investigate, remember, principle number 1 is the most powerful principle that you will see, the most common one that you'll see on your exam. You want to make sure that you follow principle number 1. If you see principle number 1 in your answers and you see a whole other bunch of answers, choose principle number 1. Obviously, read the question, make sure it solves the problem, but choose principle number 1. And the answer here is going to be B. Okay. Pretty simple questions, but remember, the purpose of these sessions is for you to grasp the understanding of the questions. If you don't understand how this works, you won't be able to apply these same principles to other questions. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe to my channel. and give it a thumbs up. We are growing this channel together, so I really appreciate every single one of you. And of course, again, I have my PMP Exertor course available for you guys. It has a 100% pass rate so far. Everyone who has taken the exam and who has taken my course has passed so far. If you are interested, please book an appointment. I'll show you around the program and we will sign you right up. Okay, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Look out for the next video next week. Take care and have a fantastic rest of the day. Take care.